Okay, we should be live. So welcome to the Node.js Node add-on API team meeting for November 21st, 2024. We'll follow our standard approach of going through the project board. So let me just share that and get the right one. I think I've got the right one. So to start in, it's going to be a bit slow. Is there anything in done that we should chat about? There's really anything new. Have PR, anything there that
Yeah, I think the first one, the defining version 10 is ready for review, and given that Gabriel is not here today, but anyway, I have commented on the pull request that probably we should um include the uncoded exception behavior for the 2SC function as well, because it's not, I mean, it has been there for a while.
okay.
It's not finalizer related, which we believe better to be experimental more a while. So yeah, it's just I'm just thinking that this could be included as well.
So yeah, if any guess anybody can take a look to add their approval, that would be good. Um,
Um, yeah, this one I believe I'll just Gabriel's comment. I did a test to verify that the basic finalizers are actually invoked.
okay.
And before we hear back from Vladimir, I think maybe we should wait a little bit more.
Okay. I think he might have mentioned that he did take a look and didn't have any concerns in a previous meeting.
Well, really,
No?
that's I was not here last 2 weeks, so
Okay, he might have already said that, but we'll leave it on the agenda until the meeting where he's here and we can double check. So
yeah, sure.
probably better to do that than I'm like 90% sure, but it's better to be sure. So okay, we'll just leave it on for this
Cool.
time.
Yeah, no problem.
In progress, any of these that we should chat about? I think this one I should basically, just so it shows up here, I might as well assign that. Maybe not. Anyway, yeah. So I don't think those ones we'd probably need a few other people to chat about. To-dos. I don't know if there's anything in the to-dos we should chat about this week. Those aren't necessarily being worked, but
I did a little more dabbling in the Gatsby thing for
okay.
the Node API resource. I have nothing concrete other than I dabbled in it. It really looks like if we want to not rewrite everything, I kind of feel like I need to look at how to start from scratch with the new version of Gatsby and then
Right.
include everything. And that's sort of what I'll try next. I think it'll be okay.
The question was kind of like, yeah, is it easier for you to do something else, yeah, if you're still invested,
Yeah, I think it's easier to
work.
continue to use Gatsby because it's not just static site generation where we're doing like markdown to HTML or something. There's also like some TypeScript files that get compiled to do something inside. So
Okay.
I don't know what's going on. So I think sticking with Gatsby is the best approach, but it's probably starting with the new version of Gatsby and then slowly incorporating the things over versus just trying to update what we already have.
Okay.
So I'll
good.
give an update next week.
Okay.
Cool. Before we jump to other issues, I want to highlight the Node add-on API version release of 8.3.0. It's in the needed change column.
Wait, this one, okay, this one.
I believe it's
This one, yeah.
Yeah, I think this one. Yeah.
Yep.
It needs another review. Yeah, I think it should be ready to go because just a version bump, and it only includes the catching all exceptions.
Okay.
The feature. That's the only feature.
Yep.
Okay, sounds good to me.
And yeah, after this, I believe we can look on the issue of 1609 consideration for the next major release.
Right.
It's in the to-do column.
Yep. This one.
Yeah, this one. Yeah.
Right, I think those were like, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, please go ahead. I was thinking.
I think those were just like ideas, right? Like, and then it's like, do we want
Yeah.
to, how many people do we think they're going to affect versus the benefit we get by removing them, right?
Those accept, no accept Jippy files, those are included by our node add-on API JIP file. So they're not unused. They are used. So I don't know how we could remove them.
I think the point here is that we are recommending people to use the JIP targets instead of including the GP files directly, so that we can provide more carefully designed targets with specially designed build flags for people instead of, directly included these two GP files.
Well, from what I understand, end users do not include those, or at least they shouldn't be, right? Because they should be targeting the node add-on AP, like what you said, the target, the different target or whatever. But inside of our node JIP file, node add-on API JIP file, we internally include those files. Because I remember when I did the catch all exceptions change inside our node add-on API JIP, it included those. So even if, the end user is not including those JIPs, they just include the node add-on JIP specifying the target of accept, no accept, or accept all. Right? Okay, well, maybe remove that as well.
Well, this file, I'm sure that the problem is that we don't have statistics figures on how many people are using the accept and no accept GP file. We will know that until we actually remove it. To be honest, I'm not pretty sure if it's really worth it, but I know that removing nothing.c and node underscore API.zip is probably safe because these two files are just empty.
Right, in which case, if somebody was using them, they should just remove their references to them. Would that be the fix, or?
Why was nothing.c there? Like, was this for something with Electron or something? I don't remember.
I don't remember either.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, maybe we can see why that was there, because there has to have been a reason for somebody to create a blank C file. But
I'm sure it was a reason, like it was working around some issue for sure.
Right, and maybe that issue has now been solved, so we don't need this workaround anymore. but I think it takes, I think we have to do a little more investigation as to why it was added in the first place to make sure if it's safe to remove.
I think this pull request I shared in the chat is
Mhm.
the original one that added to this file. But to be honest, I am not understanding why it is needed.
Yeah, I don't know.
I guess maybe Gabriel would have better memory on why he added it. I mean, I guess I'd be like, yeah, these ones, there's no rush. Like, I don't think these are causing us to not do anything, or like removing them doesn't necessarily, like, in terms of immediate benefit, I don't know that there's an immediate benefit, right?
Correct. I don't see one either. And there could be a
Right.
break if we do it, which I guess is why it's considered as a breaking change, you know. I don't know.
But it'd be good to understand why rather than,
Right. Like, why is there a nothing target? That doesn't make sense to me. But
But anyway, I'm thinking that additional to this file removal, should we consider bumping the breaking changes? Because I'm not sure if this was if this is solely worth a simple major version bump.
right, are there other Sember majors that like that people are that we have that would make sense to do a new major?
Yeah,
I don't think we have anything in the pipeline for node out on API currently.
'Cause I don't think there's any major rush either, right? Like we could wait till, like typically we do one after the LTS goes out of service, which would be like next April-ish. We could, do a Semper major then, unless we've got some, interesting things to get out. But I don't think I would cut a Semper major just for those two, unless there's some reason like it's like, hey, it lets us do X that we can't do today, right?
Right.
yeah,
I
sounds
agree.
good to me.
So, maybe that issue is good to, we can think of ideas, but like there's no major rush to actually to do a Semper major at this point, it seems like.
Right. I mean, I guess we can add to that ideas list. We have those deprecated APIs. Every now and then it comes up whether we should drop them or not. And it always comes down to we're not hurting anybody by keeping it there. But
Yeah, I'm always like, why cause people churn unless there's a reason we get value
right,
out of it?
okay, we keep it. Okay.
Okay, any other ones we should chat about let's take a look in the neat triage. So we've talked about those, not quite sure what to do about them yet, but this one, I don't know, it disappeared. We couldn't find the issue. I looked in HackerOne, I don't think there's anything there, so I think I'm just gonna remove it from the
I think
project.
Yeah,
so,
We can't
yeah.
yeah,
find it,
makes
we don't know
sense.
any info, so no point continuing to.
Yeah,
This one. I guess this is just
This is
one
new.
where
Yeah. It's not new. Last month?
seems like a little while ago. Yeah. Minimal. Okay, sounds like it's gonna be related to, so basically. So what's S in there? That be new. Well, that almost is like, if that's the size, it's basically like saying if we set it to 0, it's kind of like, well, we don't have to allocate or free any space, right?
Yeah. Well, they said they provided an example, so maybe we can try to.
Yeah, seems like this is reproducible with a simple demo.
Yeah, if this is the file here, they put both the C and the H and the bindings. Yeah, I think they put everything that's needed in order to test this. Let new object, yeah, loop. Wait, okay.
Right, so if you do a bunch.
So this person is saying that since it's an external buffer, the the garbage collection should not spend that much time on it. But it's not an external buffer if they're copying the data. Like does this here auto buffer equals new array buffer new end pointer s? Is that a copy?
I think that's, I have to look at the API, but I think that's basically saying, here's a pointer to some data.
So yeah, okay.
And the question would be like, here, let's find array buffer new. Array buffer.
Yeah, I think this function signature is creating an external buffer.
Okay.
Yeah, it's basically giving a pointer.
The
I
pointer
guess
and the
the question
size.
of why, whether the length is 0 or 1 makes a difference. Although maybe like it's effectively not, like if it's 0, we were like, well, okay, you didn't really give us a pointer or something. Or V8 may even be doing that, right? So new. And then
One thing that came out to my mind could be related to the node.js implementation on how we code the external buffer finalizer, because Vite will code the finalizer on arbitrary, well, not arbitrary, on the Vite worker threads, which means not on the JavaScript threads. And the node.js buffer implementation reschedules the finalizer invocation to be on the JavaScript thread. So that this could, I'm not sure how this could impact the issue, but that's the only thing I can see the difference here. How an external error buffer could be different from the internal one.
Right, because we do, maybe it's getting a default finalizer. But just by having the fact that it's, you know,
There might be some synchronization here. I may need to check on how this could be so significant.
yeah. Because
And they don't even have a finalizer here.
yeah, that's the, we must have an overload or something that doesn't have finalizer, right?
Yeah, it says here one of them exists like that. And it talks about since there's no finalizer, you can't really clean the data. I think it's the second, I think you passed it. It's that one there.
Right, yeah, okay, right.
Only this overload is only suitable for data which is static and never needs to be freed. So I'm hoping that's the case with this example he's writing.
Yeah, so I think that's like in the example, okay, so then the expectation might be like, well, if there's no finalizer, why is it so much slower, right?
You're right. Because if it's external, then all that V8 would be doing in the garbage collecting is just deleting this object that's pointing to the data, right? It really shouldn't matter the size that you give to the, like the size of it should not alter the garbage collection behavior since it's just an object that points to the data.
Yeah.
Yeah, unless there's some optimization that says like, well, if you've given us 0, we assume there isn't anything, right?
Yeah.
Hmm. Well, I may have some time to at least try to replicate with the example and give an update from there. That I mean, I don't know if I'd be able to figure out why the GC is acting funky.
Sure.
But hopefully I'll have an update that says, yes, the reproduction is there.
Okay.
And maybe, I don't know, but.
Okay, so I'll sign it to you now, not necessarily to fix everything, but to whatever report back next
Yes.
time is
Perfect. Thank you.
what you managed
Cool.
to figure out. That's good. Thanks.
Thank you.
Data race, right? This one, I think there's. So Gabriel said he would take a look at this one.
Should we assign it to him?
Yeah, let's do that.
Mhm.
And then I think maybe I'll also move it into like in progress since he volunteered. And we'll discuss at that point.
It has his face on it, that one, yeah.
Yeah. Then there's just a few things, I think, okay, this, and then the other new one is this one.
Yeah,
Go
this
ahead.
one I tried to. Oh no, not this one. Sorry,
Not this one,
didn't
okay.
take a look at this one. Yeah.
So this one is like, I don't know, I took a quick read through, but I'm not sure why strict would make a major difference just in related to add-ons, but
An issue with use strict. Now that's funny.
that is a weird situation.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we can see if we can reproduce it again because if they provide the source there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Question would also be like how like it would almost be nice to have a reproduce that the add-on isn't doing anything. You know what I mean?
I see. Yeah,
Right.
I mean, it may be the case that we have to start from this repository, see if it crashes, and then if it does crash, just start deleting stuff, deleting classes and scripts and stuff until we find it no longer crashes, and then sort of.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But that's something we could ask the author to do too, right? Like
Yeah,
basically show that it's an actual problem, not based on what the add-on is like. Because C code can do all sorts of stuff, right?
right.
Maybe it's timing, maybe it's messing up, I don't know, whatever. But
Right. I think that's fair to ask to try to get it down to as small as possible because it could be the case
yeah.
that it's something wrong with. I mean, it's so weird. I don't know.
I think that, yeah, that seems reasonable, right? Because like it's not impossible that something is corrupting some memory and then, you know, all bets are off, right? And
Yeah.
if it's basically just doing nothing except creating an add-on and there's nothing that could corrupt memory, then it's like, okay, that's probably in Node add-on API or somewhere in our APIs. And
Right. Because like we use strict in some of our code and there's no problem. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've made that comment and we'll leave it on the triage to sort of see what comes out of that. You were saying, Chenzong, you looked at another one of them that
It's the should be not that on API. The issue number 1610. I'm not sure it's on the. Oh, it's in the program in progress column.
right, okay.
16.
This one, right? Yeah.
Yeah, right. Because the packet trace looks really weird to me that the packages tells that an API is detached or buffer is calling into userland functions, which is, well, basically it should not be possible regarding with our code base because it should never happen. So I'm wondering that if this will be like stack trace corruption, and because I also found the stack trace corruption issue on Windows, but given that the author said they are reproducing on Mac, so I'm not sure that it's the stack trace corruption issue or other issues.
It's
But
not this
I mean,
one.
there's no. Looks like, yeah, I think it will be better to ask the author to provide a minimum reproducible add-on before we
Right.
can.
This
But
one.
but the issue here is that they also said the crash only happens after like 12 hours of idle
Right.
time, so it sounds like really hard to reproduce.
Yeah, I
Yes, for
agree.
sure.
Yeah, is detached array buffer should not be going into userland code.
Yeah.
That's so weird.
I guess is there any debugging we could suggest in terms of like, so like if the thought is that has been garbage collected, is detached array buffer.
I don't know.
Like we have this issue, I shared the link in the chat on Windows, which may produce incorrect stack trace, but it's on Mac, so I'm not sure about it.
Mm. Well, is this stack trace coming from Node itself or some other external like
I don't
GDB or
think the
something?
format of this stack trace is coming from Node. Node doesn't print a stack trace like this format.
Right.
So this is probably produced by other framework also. So
Right.
yeah.
So it could still be some sort of stack corruption, but their utility is printing the stack correctly, but since it's corrupted, that's just what it outputs, maybe.
Yeah, at least from the understanding of the code, the API detach or buffer should never calling into userland functions. So I'd assume that could be something related to the corruption of these structures.
I'm gonna say my one thought is to ask them to run under Valgrind.
Mhm.
Like that's if there's some.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Is there any documentation on how to run Electron with Vanguard? Because from the stack trace, I can tell that it's running from Electron.
Right.
That
I'm
sounds
trying to
good.
find the doc that we have, which is got that. Where is the? Okay, come on. There's Well, I'm trying to find the file. Oh, that did not search nice. I know there's a doc where I captured. Okay, investigating native memory, Valgrind, invocation. I think this is like I've got one link here. I don't think we have any things like running it under Electron, but I don't know if it's going to be massively different. The only thing that's going to have to be compiled, well, you can run Valgrind without recompiling. You just don't necessarily get all the same information, I don't think.
Well, that sounds great because I mean, compiling election could be a really tough job.
It's probably a starting point, at least. Like you can just say, okay, do Valgrind, you'll get something. If you want to, maybe not get good debug symbols, it'd be better than nothing. So
I'm sorry, but your sound, I cannot hear your sound clearly. It's like network issue.
okay, let me see if my
Yeah, it cracks sometimes as soon as you start sharing your screen. I think we mentioned that a while ago. It gets like cracky.
how about now?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. My program to suppress sound sometimes goes off the wire, and I guess I need to reboot my machine. So I think my major, like I think suggesting they run under Valgrind is a idea. I don't know anything else that like, because if we're not gonna run it for 12 hours and
Yeah.
we end up with the same thing. But Valgrind might find like if it's reporting that things are being accessed after being freed and whatever, it might give some pointers. So
Sounds like a good plan.
today and suggestion is to try to run under Valgrind, which might info. This what am I doing that? Okay, so we'll comment on that and we'll see what they come back with after having done that. Any others we should chat about?
Nothing from me.
Nope.
Okay, then if not, well, thanks for everybody's time and we'll see everybody in GitHub and next time.
All right. See
See you.
you. Bye.
Thanks.
Yep, bye.